our episode?
Yeah. We are doing a hot take. This is Ken and that's Bill. We're doing a hot take about our own fucking episode. So and on Dr. Dungeoncraft as well. So this is the episode. I'm gonna let this play in the background. I was wearing different clothing. I think William might be wearing
exactly the same thing.
Same clothing, which is great. But we got a comment. We got some likes on this episode. I think that was pretty cool. It was orcs, worms, balrogs, and authority. And as if I remember a little bit about what was commented, we might or might not have talked about some lore.
Someone was pissed.
I don't know if they were pissed. I don't think they were pissed.
Critical. They were critical about our LOTOR lore.
I think it's important to be critical, especially when you believe something and that something is wrong. So we were cringe. I think our default is a little cringe because we're two middle-aged white dudes. So I think our default is cringe. But
that's who we are.
The comment is from Spacer X. Tolkien fans are cringing, so listening to all of the details you got wrong. But apparently we had some good points about D&D. Well, we as in you had good points about D&D because you're an expert. To respond to this, I'm not an expert on Tolkien. I like it. I'm a fan. But I like the Rings of Power for all the wrong reasons. And it's because I liked Xena, Warrior Princess, when I was a kid. You know.
Was Lucy Lawless and
Lawless, yeah.
Xena. She's in Rings of Power?
No. I like it because it doesn't. It's
campy.
It's not even that it's campy. I like it because it's fantasy. I like it because it's in a world where
Xena's good and Rings of Power isn't.
Yeah, but this is not what they said. They were talking about the accuracy, I presume, of our discussion of Tolkien.
Of Tolkien, yeah, like the actual lore. Well, we were talking about like Fingolfin and Gil-galad and the different names, and we couldn't get the. We were talking about the Vala and their names and which one was which, and I had this whole spiel about Morgoth and Melkor. I should say Melkor, and how he was the most powerful, and went into Arda and dominations. Pretty deep lore of Tolkien, which I probably was wrong in a lot of.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, wrong or right. I think. The
they
way
should have given us examples.
We're doing hot takes. We were doing hot takes then. We're doing hot takes now. I mean, we don't have anything.
I invited him to the stream to correct shit because I was like, look, if we're wrong about something, don't just be like, you guys are wrong. Yeah, you're wrong. Okay, go to hell. Like, tell us what we're wrong about. Tell me what I am wrong about.
He didn't say wrong. He said cringe. So I think we were cringe because, like, we were trying to figure it out. Like, we didn't know the details, so we were working through it, maybe a little bit. And like we didn't just.
That's an interesting thing. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
The answer.
Okay, well, maybe what does it mean to be like cringe? Cringeworthy is like, guys, you're doing the thing that you shouldn't do. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't be talking about something that you don't know anything about. And I think my response.
Yeah, we do know about it. We just don't know the specific fucking biblical names. Yeah. We get the main idea.
Well, certainly we get the themes of Tolkien. But
having an opinion on. Go on. Sorry.
This is where I think I kind of come out is that I like the idea of watching a fantasy show that's a roller coaster. It doesn't have to be right. And the acting wasn't great. The stories weren't great. Yeah, they certainly weren't Tolkien. But any time that you get people dressed up with the little uniforms and there's some bad dudes and some like hobbits weren't even in. Like the hobbits weren't even in the fucking Silmarillion or whatever. What we were talking about. Similar. I can't even say it. But the hobbits weren't even. That was not even a consideration. They weren't around at that point in time. So like, Yeah, the Rings of Power doesn't do any justice to actual Tolkien's work. It's its own thing where they make up some shit. And
my issue with Rings of Power is it's bad. Like, whether or not it's stuck with the books is one thing. I mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy doesn't stick with the books. Like, they change a whole lot. They adapt it to film, and they change plenty of the story. Aragorn is completely different in the books than he is in the movies. Just as an example, there's plenty of other stuff, and there's YouTube videos galore about this.
Yeah, for sure.
My problem with Rings of Power is, one, it fundamentally changes characters in the past that then later on in the movies are like Galadriel.
Yeah.
That's not Galadriel.
She's a different character.
She's a different
character with a different
Sauron, different character. It's one thing to adapt a book and say, hey, look, this is our take on it. And then they go forward. It's different to be like, hey, I'm going to do a prequel of Star Wars where Darth Vader is a woman.
Right.
I have a problem with that.
It's kind of like it's like a different universe where different thing happens.
And if you're going to say that, that's fine. Hey, this is a Star Wars story where what if? Here you go. Cool.
Yeah.
Now let's judge it based on, is the story good? Does it make sense? And the answer is no.
Well, the story doesn't match it doesn't match your expectations. But like,
no, I'm not even talking about Lord of the Rings. If they called Rings of Power something else, if they're like, this isn't Lord of the Rings, this is just fantasy, whatever, I would chalk it up to one of the other multitude of fantasy shows that's just not very good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about gender politics and all this crap. I'm saying the story is bad.
But what I'm saying is that I think it's like Legend of the Seeker or like Merlin or like some other or Legend of Zelda or Hercules the Legend Continues or, something that they've generated, and it's shot well. The visual effects are pretty good. The sound quality is great. The acting is pretty okay in some situations. The story needs improvement. I mean, just from a basic but I'm letting a lot of things go because I like the idea that we're in an adventure story.
This is what I'm getting at. People are like, it's one thing to be like, hey, so they made it and that's cool. And so let's give it the benefit of that. But why? Amazon made this. They shelled out so much money. Your money, if you have Amazon Prime, your money, it's your money. So much money. They should just put this up. Just keep on like throwing it into the fire. Why? Well, socio-political reasons. That's why. But why? Why give this the time of day? It's not good.
It's IP. They're changing the narrative. They've got people signing up, and and I'll tell you this: Americans dumb. Just saying, they don't care about some shit that nerds do care. Like if you're geeky about something, you're geeky about it.
You're gonna get mad.
Americans
That's pretty much what you're saying.
They don't care.
It's not just Americans. I mean, listen, American TV is top
I'm just
notch.
saying,
you go anywhere else in the world and it's shit. Okay.
I mean, that's what we're known
name
for.
Anywhere else. Name another television show. Okay. I'm sure that actually does exist. But name a television show that is not camp or melodrama. Okay. That is actually good. That you would actually sit there and be like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Surely there's something British. It's actually like solid.
We're watching White Lotus for all the sardonic reasons that you watch a thing.
I don't think I haven't heard of it. What is
it? It's a bleak look at rich people in fantastic places who
made it.
Like basically eat themselves. I think it is. Oh shit! I don't know. HBO maybe.
So is it American?
Yeah, it's American. You're talking about from another country. I like a lot of stuff out of the BBC.
Some British stuff. I know, surely, because we're ignorant of this stuff, right?
And then,
like, shows that are going on in Korea. I'm sure there's some awesome shows in Korea. Sure.
They didn't make Rings of Power in America. They made it outside of America. They could make it here, but it would cost too much to make it here. Right. So most production, like you say, like, well, they didn't make it in America. Well, it's not really made in America. It's made somewhere else. It's made in Canada. I'm not talking
about the location.
Yeah, somewhere
I'm talking
else.
about like
New Zealand.
No, goddammit, I'm talking about the. Wow, that is a twisting of the words. Lord of the fucking Rings was done in New Zealand, asshole.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, I'm talking of. I'm gonna throw my mug.
Let's throw some shit.
It's a terrible fucking show. The show sucks. It sucks. Like, shit happens, and you're like, what?
Why?
Now, if you like the show because I'm not saying a person can't like the show.
Sure.
People loved the Star Wars movies. They loved some people loved them. Just fucking sucked that fucking. They loved it. They like shit that's not good.
But I liked it to kill time. Watching something with my girlfriend. I didn't like it. It didn't affect me like things that you spend millions of dollars.
It will be forgotten.
Oh yeah. Like, what happened in the show? I don't know. There was hobbits. I think there was a wizard. They talked to Tom Bombadil for a second.
The Hobbit movies. Who fucking talks about the Hobbit movies? Nobody.
Yeah.
You talk to the actors of the Hobbit movies, they're going to be like,
that was a movie. I was in it for a minute.
Yeah.
That's great.
There were some elements that were kind of cool, but like, no one is like, oh, dude, did you get oh, you see it? No one gives a fuck. No one cares about those movies. Matrix. Riveting. No one talks about Matrix 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
and why would you talk about Matrix 2? I mean, it was beating a dead horse. I mean, why would you even remake the Matrix? When they said, oh, we remade the Matrix, I'm like, why? Why would you do that? I mean,
whereas you look at the Animatrix, amazing.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, good storytelling versus
you love that.
Bad storytelling. A D&D game, pulling it back in. A D&D game, there's a trope that everybody likes. You go in, you're in the bar, and swashbuckling, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's playing Jack Sparrow or some sort of gender fluid fairy princess thing that is misunderstood orc with teeth but actually knows. And you go in and kill a bunch of people because they're bad, right? And it's fun. You kick down the door, kill the objectively bad guy, get the jewels, and now you're adventurers. Yeah. It's fun. That game is cool. If you want to play that game all the time, do it. Do it till the cows come home. It's fine. Good system? No. Good system for that. Not a good system for horror or something, dynamic story, or dynamic characters. It's not good for that. I think people can do it with that system. I've been in several D&D games that there's people literally, like, a character dies and people are literally in tears. Impact-worthy stuff. But you're constantly working against it. Can someone watch Rings of Power and feel something? Yeah, of course. Can they gain something from it? Yeah, of course. That didn't make it good.
No. What's good about it is that they do good color correction. They cast pretty
Apparently
people.
It's beautiful.
It's except for like the last season at the end, the battle sequence was like, you guys are cutting corners. Oh yeah, I mean, it was brutal.
Really?
As a visual effects artist, I was kind of like,
so they ended it on a.
I can kind of tell like you're phoning it in a little bit here. I mean, it was like the last couple episodes were like, okay, you're not, and you're right. The story kind of lost me. Am I going to watch the next season? Probably not, because I care if it relates to. It's just like, there's only so many things that I watch.
If you're on a flight to Thailand and it's like 16 hours and you're like, you know what, fuck it.
But am I going to watch it by myself? No, I won't watch it by myself. I'll watch it because my girl likes it. Or I'll watch it because like I'm around other people that like it.
Elves and dramatic moments, and it's second screen worthy. So we could be having. I mean, I've been watching it on my phone this whole time. Don't skip a beat. There it is.
Yeah, doesn't matter. But yeah, are we cringe? Yeah, we're 1,000% cringe, and we're always going to be cringe. I think that's why you watch us. Is because
if you're gonna comment that we're cringe, you gotta tell us.
You gotta dial it back in. Give me a time code.
Give me a time code, or be like, hey, this is one. Give me an example of what. Did I mispronounce Monway?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. If he didn't make you cringe, I'm gonna make you cringe, and if I don't make you cringe, he will.
Okay, I'm just gonna look it up. Okay. Why is Melkor considered the most powerful Anor? He was an Anor? I thought he was a Vala.
Yeah.
Anor is I think it's just the
That's the guy that sang poorly. I mean, I sing poorly too, and nobody seems to care.
The holy ones, encompassing both the Valar and the Maiar. Yeah. Okay. All right, so he was a Vala.
Melkor was like Sauron's big daddy, because I think there were stages. No, they weren't related, but like he was like one above Sauron. Like Sauron was like the next one down.
No, you have Eru. Now we're gonna be cringe again. Eru Iluvatar, creator, and then you have who Eru created. The Vala. Yeah. And then a whole bunch of the Ainur and such. Melkor is the mightiest. But he's essentially Lucifer.
Yeah, he's the biggest baddie, but he's not like the toughest one because he used all his power to create this other world. Or
well, the Vala then did the song and they started, creating things of their own. And Melkor's purpose was discord. The sort of, is it Vishnu? God, this is the same conversation.
This is the same conversation, but like Melkor, I think, used a ton of his power to create Middle Earth. It's Shiva,
the destroyer. That's what I'm thinking of.
Or not create Middle Earth, but just like when he went down. Yeah, it was the disharmony. But that's why the god Eru Iluvatar. That's why the god said, I'm going to create this place for you.
This is what someone says. This is what someone says. So you're confusing power and strength here. Mm-hmm. And this is something we talked about before, where it's not, who would win, Sauron, or it's not like that in Tolkien necessarily. So Maiar are not below Vala. They're the same race. Anor, Vala means the powers. They're the Anor who entered Arda, so the earth, and became bound to it, taking physical bodies. They're the Anor who entered Arda, so the earth. Oh, I was like, did I literally just repeat exactly verbatim?
No, I was just switching over to I don't know where you're like comment, like you're looking at a comment. I don't know where the comment's coming from.
So they're the same order as the Vala, but of a less degree.
Right. But I always thought the Valar were like, one level, and the Maiar were just like kind of underneath them.
Yeah. So someone says he was the most powerful, but a lot of his power drained out of him as he was shaping things by his own will and not for Iluvatar, creating the orcs and such, etc. So what I'm trying to say is this is a point of contention that I don't quite understand. I've heard people say on Reddit and whatnot that Melkor was not the most powerful. From what I understand, he was.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he is, because he used so much of his. He was, and then he like, it's like Sauron in the Ring,
But he's still a badass.
And that was the Tolkien theme. That was the Tolkien thing. It's like your quest for power is what destroys you.
Right, exactly.
It's the theme that Tolkien is. You've got this anytime you like have some kind of desire and use that. It takes from you, and that's why Sauron would have probably lost to Gandalf in a fight because he just used so much of it. Was a one-on-one kind of fight.
Sauron would have probably been taken out. I'm sorry, Gandalf would have probably been taken out.
I think if nobody had rings, and what would happen is Sauron would reconstitute himself again. I mean, it's just a fight. It's not, Well,
I think that's exactly the idea, though, is that, Gandalf, his purpose wasn't to attack Sauron. And so it's kind of like not what's going to happen,
Right.
Also, Sauron was as opposed to the movies where he rolls out in his armor and the mace, that actually isn't Sauron. That's actually Melkor or Morgoth. Right. I mean, in the movies, it's Sauron, but Sauron wasn't doing that. That's and even in the movie, this is all outtakes. The scene in the beginning of Lord of the Rings is actually the end scene, and they couldn't figure out how to show Sauron, and that armor is Melkor. It's based off of Melkor's armor, or Morgoth, I should say. I guess we're being cringe right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally see, to give order to the world and combat the new evils of Melkor. Let's see. So the Valar were the 14 Ainur who, after being molded of Eru's thought, entered Arda after its creation to give order to the world and combat the new evils of Melkor. They had helped to begin the shaping of Arda through the music of Iluvatar. Each of the Ainur had their own part of the music, save for Melkor, who at the time was counted as the strongest of them. His vision of what Arda should have been differed from Eru's, which led to his banishment and great rebellion that would cause most of the ills of the world of Arda. So there you go.
There you go. And there we are.
So, though subordinate to the Valar, the Maiar were powerful, including Melian and Sauron, and Aloran, who is Gandalf. And then many of the Balrogs. So, it was originally Melkor's intention to rule Arda, but Manwë, the superior of the Valar, called other spirits to help him confront Melkor. Melkor withdrew from Arda, and he plotted the return. So, and then that's when he had Ungoliant, the big spider, and then killed the trees of Valinor. So what I'm trying to say is, first of all, I think I was right about Manwë. Melkor was the strongest, and then diminished himself. And I believe there's a point in the Silmarillion where Manwë is like, wow, you really have fallen from grace. I don't know what was cringy about that. That's what I'm saying. I want this person to come back and be like, I want him on GGP.
Oh, yeah.
And I want him to be like, hey, let's set the record straight.
People like to comment. They don't want to, you just want to get on there and say some stuff and then move on. I think that's one of the issues we face as a society. You type in some stuff because you're triggered and you're unhappy and you want to just say some stuff.
I'm glad they commented. I don't take offense to it. I just want them to back it up a little bit.
I agree. I think specific is good, and so knowing the cringe is the more you know.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on being cringy.
We're going to get cringy all over again.
No,
I love the comment. I absolutely think it's awesome when people comment on our stuff. And
speaking of, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Join our Patreon if you would like, patreon.com/Geeky Gamer Podcast. Share our stuff. Tell us how we're wrong. We dare you.
Yeah,
Tell us how we're
implore
wrong.
You.
Jump in them comments. Jump on the Twitch stream, on the YouTube, whatever. we will talk to you. We will lampoon you. Have no fear.
And we will allow you to lampoon us right back.
Yeah, we will get. Listen, we'll lampoon. To poon, lamped. Yeah, we were just talking about how Melkor is the strongest of the Vala, and I'll fight you.
Nah,
I'll fight you on this.
Or lose.
Yeah, I might lose, but I'll fight.
Just get out. All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, now we have 3 viewers. It's actually people on Twitch watching now. Say something in the comments if you're viewing on Twitch. Let us know you're there, because we would like to actually talk to you guys a little bit.
Sure.